The Pittsburgh Steelers have signed veteran outside linebacker Marcus Hayes. Also, Mike Tomlin speaks about the starting quarterback. Is it Russell Wilson or is it Justin Fields? He mentions pole position once again. But first, before I get more into it, make sure you subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news and updates. Also, like this video. Now, let's get right back into it. So, to start off, the Pittsburgh Steelers have signed free agent outside linebacker edge rusher Marcus Hayes to a contract. And just like every other player we have gotten this offseason, this is his introduction to you and the Steelers. So, looking at Haynes, he is 26 years old and is in his second professional season out of Old Dominion. He originally signed with the Denver Broncos as an undrafted free agent in the 2023 season, and he spent the preseason with Denver also last year. In 3 games in the preseason, he had 5 tackles, 1 pass defense, and 1 quarterback hit. Looking at Haynes, he's 6'4", 240 pounds, but so far in the NFL, he has a hard time sticking around because he was released by the Denver Broncos, but then signed to the Broncos practice squad after his release on November 27th. The Houston Texans then signed him to a future / reserve contract at the end of the season for this season, 2024 season, in February, but then he was waived by them as well on May 28th. Then Haynes signed with the San Antonio Brahmas of the UFL on August 2nd, but his contract was terminated 4 days later when he signed with the Cleveland Browns. Then the Browns cut him on August 12th. Anyway, looking at Haynes, he's a Bowie, Maryland native and attended Fork Union Military Academy in Central Virginia and then Old Dominion University in Norfolk, Virginia. Haynes redshirted in his freshman season in 2017 in college, but became a highly used reserve beginning in the 2018 year. He did not become a full starter until 2022 when he was a redshirt senior. That was his best statistical season because in 12 games, he has recorded 47 tackles, 7.5 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, and a forced fumble, and 3 pass breakups. He then entered pre-draft testing, the NFL draft, and Haynes showed excellent explosiveness with a 34.5-inch vertical jump, 9'11" broad jump, 1.64 second 10-yard split on his 40-yard dash time, which totaled out to be a 4.83 second 40-yard dash time in total. He has a 7.09 second 3-cone drill, and his overall relative athlete score was a 7.39 out of 10. So he is an athlete at the edge rusher position, and now the Pittsburgh Steelers snatch him up. So looking at Haynes and this signing in total, this is more so just depth, and the Pittsburgh Steelers signing a guy to sign a guy, and just a camp body, a preseason body, and really nothing more. Maybe he makes the practice squad, but there's other guys as well who's been on the team longer, behind TJ Watt, Nick Herbig, and behind Alex Highsmith, that more than likely will be on the practice squad. So this signing may just be a signing. Looking at why the Pittsburgh Steelers probably signed Haynes right now is because TJ Watt was out of the second preseason game. With no injury, just he was not playing. Also, Alex Highsmith, he was out as well, but he was dealing with a little bit of an injury. So if those two can't go, you really have Nick Herbig, but you don't really, in the last preseason game, you really don't want Nick Herbig playing a lot of time as well. So he might not play as much, and you just need more guys, more bodies on the field in the preseason, and having Haynes out there, it at least gives him opportunity to show some things. Show some things in the preseason, put some things on film, put some things on tape, and maybe down the road, next season, he gets another chance, or maybe down the road this season, he gets another chance. Maybe he ends up on a different team's practice squad with how he performs in this last preseason game. Or maybe he ends up on another team's roster down the road, or maybe the Pittsburgh Steelers bring him back if injuries happen to the outside linebacker position down the road in the season, because we all know it's a long season, injuries happen, so maybe Haynes gets a phone call and he ends up on this team later on in the season. But anyway, this is just a great opportunity for Haynes to come in and show what he could do and put some things on film for either the Steelers or a different team and just for himself in general. But anyway, before I move on to the next topic of this video, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below about the signing of Haynes. How do you feel about it? Do you like the signing of him? Or do you believe they should win a different direction? Or do you believe this is just a mid-signing in terms of, hey, this is just a camp body, preseason body, nothing more, nothing less? Or do you think he has a chance to make this team? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, let's move over to the second topic of this video, which is basically Mike Tomlin talking about the quarterback position. Because Russell Wilson versus Justin Fields, who's going to be the starter week 1? That question was still not answered, but if you look in between the lines of Mike Tomlin's statements, you could clearly see that Russell Wilson is still in pole position, because Mike Tomlin has said nothing has changed in terms of that kind of sentence that he has said earlier in the offseason. Basically meaning that Russell Wilson is still the starter, Justin Fields is still the backup. If we're going strictly based off of this offseason alone, if there was truly a quarterback competition from training camp to preseason of who's going to be the starter, I want to make a video separate on this, but there's no way you could say it is Russell Wilson. If we're going based off of this offseason alone, Russell Wilson has just been injured the whole offseason, hasn't played well in that preseason game. He barely participated in training camp and mini camp, OTAs, and things like that. So it's really just been Justin Fields. So if it was truly a quarterback competition, it is Justin Fields who won the job. But obviously it's not, and that pole position comment still stands, because Mike Tomlin says it still stands. And that means that Russell Wilson, no matter what, he's not going to lose that starting job. Even how much we want Justin Fields to prove himself to be the future quarterback of this team, as of right now, it is still Russell Wilson's job to lose, and it looks like he's not losing that job anytime soon, even how bad he's played or the injuries that he's still dealing with. And Arthur Smith still said that Russell Wilson is still not 100%. So even though he's still injured, he's still the starter. Mike Tomlin made those comments today in his press conference when he was speaking to the media. But moving over to another topic of this video is just the injury updates for this team. Mike Tomlin really didn't give any clarity on any injuries. He basically didn't give any update on Peyton Wilson, the rookie who went out of last week's game with a concussion. Will he play in the Saturday's game against the Lions? Mike Tomlin basically didn't say anything. But Peyton Wilson gave his own update on himself, and he said he's 100% cleared and he's 100% playing. And that is a really good sign, because we are already getting thin at the inside linebacker position, and if he was injured, then it would be even more thin. Because right now you obviously have Patrick Queen, Landon Roberts, Cole Holcomb's injured, and if Peyton Wilson was injured, then that's another guy injured. Tyler McKetovich got injured in last week's preseason game, and then it would just be Mark Robinson as the third. So it can't get thin that quickly in just the preseason. So it's good thing seeing that Peyton Wilson is 100% back and cleared. Also, another update on Jaylen Warren. He was practicing today on the practice field, which is a good sign, because he was dealing with a hamstring injury. He's still dealing with it, but we all know hamstring injuries are tricky. And there's many reports going out there that he could miss the first week of the actual NFL season and return in week 2. But seeing him back on the practice field is a good sign that maybe he won't miss any time and he'll be back quicker than we thought. So that's an update on Jaylen Warren. That's an update on Peyton Wilson. Roman Wilson is still in jeopardy of missing week 1 with his ankle injury. There's reports going out there that he might end up on actual like an injured reserve list, which will make him miss the first 4 weeks, I believe, of the season or something like that. So hopefully that does not happen. Hopefully he's able to return, and hopefully his injury is not as serious as it was not said to be. They said it was just going to be week to week. He may be back for the start of the season, maybe in the last preseason game. It looks like it's taking longer, but hopefully Roman Wilson's injury is not too serious. Anyway, that's the end of this video. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below on these updates. Mike Tomlin's comments on the pole position basically still sticking with Russell Wilson as a starter. And also the injury updates. Do you think Peyton Wilson will be an impact rookie this season? And how do you feel with Jaylen Warren and Roman Wilson's week 1 status? Do you think they'll play, or do you think that they'll end up being out of the game with their tricky injuries? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Also on the thoughts of the signing as well of Marcus Haynes. Anyway, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news, updates, highlights, analysis, reports, everything like that. I've covered everything this offseason. I'll continue to cover it as we head into the season here shortly. And until next time, I'll see you guys all later. I'm out. Peace.